All right. So this is the JavaScript version of
I'll
Crowdfund.
start. Okay, so we're recording. Yeah. All right. So in the debrief on Wednesday, Raphael talked about, was Raphael? It's got 3 different names. Anyway, he talked about maybe sort of a mini ICO for DAPI. And I thought of a crowdfunding thing, and I thought, oh, that'd be fun to write a crowdfunding contract. And in about half an hour to an hour, I had a sketch of it in Rolang. But there's a zillion details, and the development tools for Rolang don't keep up with my brain. So I switched to JavaScript for a while, knowing that I have a compiler that goes back, although the compiler needs work. Oh, I got a conflicting definition, that's why. Oh. Okay. Where to begin? I think I will begin.
So the Crowdfund.js is not in the crowdfund branch here, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So where did I put it? I put it in JS2.rho examples, Crowdfund.js. So the interesting thing is I figured out how to make a purse out of a vault. This, in some ways, people have told me this, you could do this all along, and I kind of knew it. And then I thought you could, I tried to do it and I failed, but now I'm trying to do it and I think I've got it. Don't quite have that one. Okay, so some of the work I learned how to use Rev vaults that are controlled by unforgeable names when I was working on Staking Pool originally. But I'm going to set that aside for a second. All right, so I've got a thing called Rev Issuer, which comes, the word issuer comes from the ERTP, Electronic Rights Transfer Protocol, that the Agoric folks are working on. But for now, it's just a thing, never mind what it is. But the main thing it has is a method called make empty purse. Anybody ought to be able to make up a purse with 0 rev in it, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, so the first thing you do is allocate an unforgeable name. This is basically new my key. Okay. It's just like new refund channel or whatever, right? I'm just saying, I've got a thing, nobody else has this thing, right?
Right.
Okay. So now we're going to try, there's a thing called rev address from unforgeable. And rev address, where did I get rev address? I got rev address. You can just sort of say new rev address and you get it. I can show you the Rolang translation, but it's very straightforward. It just uses new rev address and the backticks thing. All right, so given an unforgeable name, my key, you can say rev address from unforgeable, and now this thing is going to be a string. Did I tell it that? Yep, it's a string. Does that make sense? So this is going to be 111 blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's the rev vault contract that you can get out of the registry, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do rev vault finder create on that address I just got, right?
Yep.
So now I've got a vault here. Well, I might have a vault because that can fail.
And that rev vault is controlled by what address? Or no,
Say that again?
I guess,
It's controlled by the one we just created on line 50.
so, but I guess my, the basic thing, elephant in the room is, how do I have permissions to use that vault? Because my deployer ID is the same, is that?
Nope, this has nothing to do with deployer IDs.
So because I created it, I have some capability to,
Well, the way they express the capabilities, we're getting to it.
okay, go ahead.
There's all this gymnastics you have to do, which I don't know why, but that's the way it is. All we did was we allocated an unforgeable name on line 49. We called rev address from unforgeable. It gave us back a string. We called rev vault finder create on that string, and it gave us a vault. And that's where we are, right?
Right.
But actually, finder create could fail. So if it's not, if it fails, it should never fail in this case. But the method signature allows it to fail. So I threw a type error if it fails. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, I'm going to skip over a few lines, is oh, that's deposit. Well, when you want to send, okay, so we're gonna get money from somebody else's purse. When somebody else gives us a purse and we're going to deposit it, the way you exercise the rights around this vault, you don't do any signatures or something like that. You just say rev vault unforgeable auth key from whatever the magic unforgeable name is. And if you have the right unforgeable name for that vault, you get an auth key, which works in the transfer method. It's a pretty weird API, but that's the way it is.
Well, it sort of makes sense. It was not clear how that could be done. I guess I still need to rock it.
So let's see if the type came out right. Oops.
Yay. So what would normally be the unforgeable auth key for a rev vault? Would that be your deployer ID?
Yeah, the other thing that you can use in this transfer thing is an auth key you get from your deployer ID. Yeah. So if you look at the, this is the original transfer funds demo contract. And what you do is you take your own address, you find or create the vault that goes with your address. You get the deployer auth key that comes from your deployer ID, right? And then given that auth key, you use that in the transfer method. Where's the transfer thing? Yeah. So what we're doing different is instead of deployer auth key, we're using unforgeable auth key.
And that's the standard method that's part of Rev Vault?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the RChain repository. Unknown is not assignable to void. Ugh. Promise result. What does transfer give back when you win?
Go down. Oh,
Ret 2, so we got to look at transfer template. See, none of this stuff, you can't hover over these things and get the types. Okay, so we've got ret. Flat map, ret. I don't know. So I'm going to call it unknown. That's the type that you don't know what it is. Oh. Oh, crud. We can't do that. Because I don't know if it's okay yet. So now I can do const my vault equals found dot result. Okay. So I can hover over this and I can see, ah, look, it has get balance and transfer and things like that. So this is how you can make an empty purse, and it has a deposit method and a get balance method. And so given that we now have normal ERTP purses, I can take you through the crowdfund contract, which is, I think, straightforward. So there's crowdfund has a make. So this, that stuff right there corresponds to crowdfund here. I didn't make a make thing there. But that's, the creator. And it takes a target and a deadline, and the target is a natural number. So that's the pledge target. And then the deadline is a timestamp, so that's a number also. And it's going to be compared to the block timestamp. So does that make sense why a crowdfund would take those two arguments?
isn't there an issue of the block count of the, I guess the timestamp can be forged on the fly.
Right.
I guess it could be forged on a block also. I guess the validator would have to be misbehaving.
Well, if the consensus of the validators misbehaves, then RChain is hosed, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole premise of this thing is that the validators give us a reasonable compute surface, right?
yeah. It's just that I don't know that they validate timestamps.
They provide the timestamps. I don't know if they actually have to correspond to real time, but they're what we have. So, I mean, if you're going to use this crowdfund contract, you got to trust the validators to do something reasonable with time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we probably need to use block number or something.
Say again?
You probably need to use block number or something, so I understand if you want to be sure. I don't know. I have to learn about fortune timestamps.
Yeah, well, no one validator can forge it. I know that. They all have to forge it together. They all have to agree, whatever it is. Okay. So all right, but you know that you want to have some pledge target and some time in the future, right?
Right.
Okay. So we have a holdings channel, and what we put in it is a map with total 0 and purses empty list. And the total is going to be a natural number, and the purses is a list of purses. Okay?
Right.
All right. And then I have these two utility methods because they're used in two different places. There's this check thing that has check pledge target, and so it peeks at the holdings channel, grabs the total, and checks to see if the pledges have met the target. And you can either use this thing to check that they have or that they have not. And if you get the sense right, then you get the current amount of the pledges, and otherwise it throws an exception. I've got a way to translate exceptions into Rolang, I think. I thought it through, I haven't implemented it. Okay. So that checks the pledge target. I don't know if you want me to go through that slower.
I guess it's all right. I'm trying to look at the Rolang back and forth here. I'm not quite keeping up.
Okay, I don't think I did anything. I just sort of said to do about pledge target.
Okay. I guess that's what I can't find.
Yeah, this contribution total, there is no such thing. And you know, if you tried to run this in Rolang, it would say no such thing. So all the details of that are not worked out in Rolang, but I think I know how to translate this back. And then there's another one for checking the deadline, and it has to get the information on the block info. And I have not looked up the details on how that works. You get it out of the registry somehow, I'm assuming. Oh, let's see. I did get that much. Row RChain block info, it does do. Oh, but how you call methods on it and stuff, I don't really know. Where was I? Right. Somehow you get the current timestamp, which is a OCAP no-no, but well, actually, I've made it so that this main function takes the registry and is an argument. So, okay, so you check your time source, and if the deadline has been met, you win or lose depending on the met flag. Okay, So that's the two check methods. Those are factored out. And then here is we got a little contract for a thing called a contributor seat. A seat at the contract, or a seat at the table to play the game. And down here, the caller is gonna create the refund purse. And then, so given a refund purse, we're gonna make a thing that has a withdraw method. And the withdraw method checks the pledge target and checks the deadline. And if, that's a little weird. Yeah, if the pledge target has been met, then you can't get your money back, right? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, you shouldn't, I mean, if the pledge target is met, I guess that means that the project is a go, so you can't get the money back.
Right. The code is a little less clear here. It would be nicer to have the message here.
It says in the row line, it looks clear. Refund not available after funding target reached.
Right. And then it checks the deadline. And if the deadline has not been met, then you lose. But if it has been met, it sends you the purse back. And we're going to find out what the purse is in a minute, because we took that in as argument, right?
Yeah,
None of this is in the row line.
okay, I'm looking here. It looks like you have withdraw, but you don't have deposit.
Well, we'll get to that. The contributor seat doesn't have a deposit.
Okay.
Once you're a contributor, you've already contributed.
Okay, and then you get a seat?
Right. And the only thing your seat allows you to do is withdraw.
Right.
Okay. All right, so now we got, we're gonna make the beneficiary seat. So, and the contributor seat is kind of a class that has a make method, because we expect lots of contributors, right? But the beneficiary seat is just one thing. There's just one beneficiary seat for the whole crowdfund, right? Not in neural lang. Just one beneficiary seat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it has a claim method. Basically, it checks to see if the pledge target's been met. And if so, it takes all the holdings and puts them all in one purse and gives you back the gives you back the purse called the benefit. And it resets the holdings back to zero. The purses that were in the holdings are all no good anyway, so they've had all this stuff taken out of them. So we take each of the purses in our holdings and we deposit them into the benefit. So the benefit, we create it as an empty purse, and we take all the contributions and deposit them.
All right.
Not sure the types of that are quite right. I have to see if this runs. Okay, so that's the beneficiary seat mostly has this claim method. Well, it only has this claim method. All right, and so then there's this public facet thing, which is what you're going to put in the registry and advertise, say, come and fund me, right?
Right.
Okay. So it has a status method, which just tells you the target and the deadline, and it tells you the total of the pledges so far, right?
Okay.
So anybody can get the status of the fund, the crowdfund. All right. So then then here's a big one here, which is you contribute. So you contribute something, and what you send in is supposed to be of a certain client sign, but the code here is defensive, so it doesn't assume anything about the payment. You sent something, I don't know what yet. Okay, so I'm going to make an empty purse, and I'm going to call that the refund. I'm going to attempt to deposit the payment into the refund. And if that doesn't work, then you lose. But if I was able to deposit your payment, I now know that your payment was a good purse. You didn't send me junk, right? Also, you can't yank the money back out of that purse because I have it now, right? You watching airplanes or something? What?
I'm looking, I have you on my other screen here.
Okay.
I see that when somebody contributes, they get a contributor's fee, and then they can withdraw. I guess what I'm not completely clear on is is where they give us the purse and how they lose access to the purse when they give it to us.
They don't lose access to it. I empty it.
Okay, right, you transfer.
Yeah, once I have gotten past this line, then they now have an empty purse. That's the nifty thing about how purses work. There's a short amount of time when we both have it, and if you give it to me and then yank the money out of it, then well, whatever. Oh, I guess I should check that the amount that you contributed is non-zero or something, more than dust or something. Yeah, because there's like a denial of service attack where you send me tiny bits of dust, and then when I claim the reward, it costs me more to claim the reward than I actually got. Okay, so now I've got this refund purse that I know has, I was able to deposit into it, and I make a contributor seat out of that, and we saw how to do that earlier, right?
Right.
And then I update the holdings by grabbing the total and the purses out of the holdings. I get the balance of the refund, and then I set the total to the former pledges plus the new pledge, and I add the refund to the list of purses. I put the holdings, put all that stuff back in the holdings channel, and I give you the contributor seat. And the whole crowdfund make contract returns the beneficiary seat and the public's facet. So it doesn't run yet, or at least I haven't checked that it runs yet. I could do that next.
Well, what did you say? There's one part missing in the row line here? I guess you can run it in JavaScript?
Yeah, I can run it in JavaScript. There's hundreds of parts missing in the Roland code. I mean, so this JavaScript is 235 lines. That's going to become 500-ish lines, and I've currently in the Roland I've only got 64 of those lines. But if I try to run this, it shouldn't do anything because all it does is define a function. But let's run it anyway. Do you know how to say run this frickin' file? Doesn't it seem like you should be able to do that? Oops, that's not what I wanted. Is it actually doing that? Oh, it is. It's deploying the directory contract again. Stop. How do I stop that?
I'm muted. Yeah, there's a run at the top. File, edit, selection, view, go, run.
Oh, my computer is now on its knees because the thing's trying to do RChain. Come on, computer. Oh. Yeah. Where'd my cursor go? Hello? Oh, I wonder if I have Portainer. My cursor's like gone. How do I do this?
I see a blinking cursor, but maybe it doesn't move.
My mouse cursor is like, is my mouse dead?
Oh, it could be your map. Yeah. I'm going to try ending the screen share and starting it again. Sometimes it gets stupid. Let me, I'll steal it first.
Ah, yes, there we go.
Oops, you found it.
Yeah, it was the mouse battery was dead.
So you can share your screen again.
Whoops.
So I'm going to have to sign off in a couple of minutes here.
I think maybe it. Any idea what's going on here?
Why don't you open the console or whatever?
Open the what?
View the terminal. Is that what the console is? No, view terminal. There we go.
No, I'm in the wrong directory.
Ah.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Must use import to load AS modules. This usually works. I've used this 100 times.
So are you having trouble getting ES6 running or something, or what?
Yeah, there's this thing called ESM where you say node minus R ESM and off you go.
USM, huh?
I and 100 and a million people, other people use this thing.
No, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to go though.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right, guys.